Hey guys, welcome to Manifesting Better. I'm back with another video and another topic that needs to be addressed. I also have an Instagram account, the link for that is in the description box below. Coaching is also available, the link for that too is in the description box below. These are the 5 mistakes I made in my manifestation journey which delayed my manifestations, and today I'm going to bring this video to you because I don't want you guys to make the same mistakes I did. First of all, I hope you guys are well and are having a good time. Today, I want to make a topic that is slightly personal to me. And this is not just for one specific area. So I will be sharing 5 tips. The 5th one is the most important. And so please watch the video till the end. I know that this will provide you a lot of value. So let's get into it. Some of the mistakes I made were in terms of money, wealth. Some of the mistakes I made were when I was manifesting love in my life. And then some of the mistakes that I made on my spiritual journey, on my journey to grow as a person, on my journey to become this person that you guys see right now, which of course is not the finished product, but I am proud of how far I have come. And if you would have seen me back then when I was in this journey, there are some people who know me from back then, a lot of friends. They actually value that change a lot because they know what it took for me to get to this level where I can tell you these things, where I can explain these things, and where I can get into this with you guys. So let's get into it. Let's understand each and every one. So the first mistake is not being consistent. Now, when I say not being consistent, I was personally not consistent with a few things. First, with the routines, and I will get to that later. Second, I was not consistent with the way that I used to handle resistance. So let me give you an example. Let's say I was starting something and getting ahead in the journey. Maybe I read a book and was feeling very confident. So I started this journey. I started affirming, visualizing, doing some techniques or methods. And then a few days later, 5, 6 days, 7 days later, some resistance came that asked me, oh, where is it? Why is it not happening? And I knew that this resistance is going to come because I knew by that time that resistance is going to be a part of the journey. Instead of trying to say that, okay, I don't have to actually know when it will happen. And the fact that I am pondering over the fact when it will happen or why isn't it happening is me going into a disempowered state. So instead of solving that, I will tell myself that no, I don't need to know when or how it will happen. What I did was I tried to solve it. So I started to say, oh, it isn't happening because da 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 da. It isn't happening because XYZ. And I started getting more into the resistance and it became a web from which I couldn't get out of. I was also not consistent with my routines, with my habits. It took me a while to actually be very consistent with my diet, with a simple thing, my water intake. But just being consistent with that has given me great confidence into knowing that I can be consistent with anything. Once you are consistent with something, you get that confidence that, hey, I am someone who can be consistent and I am someone who will be consistent when it comes to it. The second thing that I did was I did not work a lot on my self-concept. And I have talked about this on my page before and with a lot of clients too. A lot of times what I also saw, and which is the major thing that I see with my clients, is that people do get movement, but that movement is not sustainable. So they do get the results that they want. They do get some movement that they want, but it is not sustainable. Why is that? Because they are not changing from the inside out. They are just pretending to change long enough for them to get the results. And this is what I used to do. I used to keep doing the techniques till I saw some movement, or what I used to call movement, maybe a call, maybe a text, or maybe some money used to come and things like that used to happen. But I hadn't changed my core beliefs. I hadn't changed internally. I hadn't changed as a person. Because I hadn't changed as a person, what I kept seeing was that these things kept going back to the neutral point. So maybe I would get the call, but then the call would not be about anything romantic. Maybe I would get money, but it will go away again. Or some huge bill will come. Just to balance it out. That is what used to happen. Because eventually my bar as a person was internally, I was still someone who was chasing love. Internally, I was still someone who felt that he's poor. And that kept coming back to me. I always kept going back to the identity that I had. And that is why I'm so adamant when I tell you guys to work on your self-concept. Because without working on that, there is no way that you get sustainable results. My goal is not to get you results so that they go away again and then you come for coaching again. My goal is that once you receive results, you are able to handle them and you are in a position where you can sustain those results for a long time. That's according to me what I would call results. So if I would have worked on my self-concept back then, I wouldn't have had to suffer for a long time of hot and cold results in my manifestation journey. The third thing that I did was I started changing techniques consistently. So let's understand what a technique actually does and why is it important to do, or if you should do it or not. A technique only introduces a new idea in your mind. The only prerequisite to get what you want is to live in the end of having it or becoming the person who has it. Techniques are great because they allow you to basically get into that feeling of someone who has it. Affirmations help with that. Some people affirm with feeling, this is me. Some people affirm robotically, this I have a lot of friends. And even in some, I have talked about affirmations and robotic affirmations in one of my videos. I will link it down below. But sometimes robotic affirmations have worked for me. Sometimes I affirm when feeling, depends on the topic. If there is something that I don't have much resistance with, I can affirm as much as I want. But if there is something that I have resistance with, I like to deal with the resistance first. Visualizing for me has been a great technique, especially when it comes to wealth, because it allows me to feel the feeling of someone who's wealthy. I can imagine myself doing some things that I would only be doing if I had wealth. And how I visualize, I will also link that video down in the description. The thing is that the issue with me was that even though I knew that techniques are only going to facilitate change, I had started thinking that techniques are a magic pill that will just magically get me something, that I won't have to work on anything. I will just magically get something if I keep doing techniques or if I keep visualizing every night. And I used to change these techniques so often according to what was popular in that moment or what book I read. Because when I was learning, I was majorly learning from books that I was reading. And if someone is interested in what kind of books I read, on my page on Instagram, there are 3 book highlights where we do a book every month. So they are not always connected to manifestation, but all books are connected to self-help. So you can check that out if you need book suggestions. But whatever I used to see the new technique, and at that time Instagram was new and I did not know that there were many coaches on Instagram. So whatever I used to see or on YouTube, whatever content I used to see or whatever was the hot topic at that moment, I used to just leave the things that I was doing and I would just go into the new topic, basically looking for an instant fix, not actually wanting to work on myself. So that's a no. If you're sticking with something, be consistent with it. Any technique, if you're picking a set of routines for yourself, which includes maybe affirmations, then at least be consistent enough for you to know that it works or not. If you're doing it one day, then not doing it at all, and then just being back and forth. I'm not saying techniques are needed, but I'm saying that they facilitate change. So that's a good thing if you can be consistent with it. At least give yourself a consistent enough time for yourself to say that, hey, affirmations don't work for me. Because I have seen a lot of clients. I had this client the other day. She came and she said that, hey, I want to manifest this person back. And we did talk about her core beliefs and everything. And she said that, but the thing is that affirmations don't work for me. I said, all right, but have you tried affirming? She said, yeah, I just used to affirm here and there. She had never actually done it consistently, but because she used to do it here and there, and now she had a negative connection to it, she started saying it didn't work for me. So be consistent with the routines that you pick and the techniques that you do. The fourth thing that I did was that I started emotionally waiting. Now, this was especially true when I was manifesting love in my life, and especially when there was someone specific involved. What I started doing is I started putting my life on hold. I started saying that, okay, there are certain emotions that I'm only allowed to feel when this person is near me or when I get my manifestation. And I'm being very honest here, my mind started to say that I can only feel these emotions once I get this person. Or unconsciously, I did used to think that. For it to become conscious and for me to change that, it took a while. But I started to realize that yes, there are some emotions. See, let's say I want to feel love. Now, love is a very broad term. Let's narrow it down. What are you looking for from that person? And I have a video in which I talk about what to do if you miss your SP. I will link it down below. But in there, I'd explain it. So let's say I am thinking love, and in love, I'm looking for comfort. Now, comfort is a feeling that I can feel from other areas of my life as well. Maybe doing some activity can make me feel comfort. But of course, I cannot feel it to the exact extent that I would feel it with my specific person or with someone that I am in love with. But I can feel it to a very close degree so that I'm not emotionally waiting for that person to come in or for that manifestation to come in to finally feel that. That's when I started realizing that, oh, I'm emotionally waiting. Even though I think that I'm living my life, in my mind, I'm just waiting for this thing to come so that I can finally allow myself to feel some emotions. That's when I knew I was doing it wrong. And that once I started working on that, this was a very big game changer. And the last thing, which is going to be something simple and small, but was honestly the most important one, is escapism. I used to escape a lot. I used to be very selective with my attention and not in a good way. Whenever I used to see someone telling me something which could give me growth and would actually have me do some work on myself, I would just escape that topic. I would not listen to them. I will call them that, hey, I don't need to do this work. I can get my manifestation without it. And I would just escape from everything. I would escape dealing with my issues. I would escape dealing with my self-concept, dealing with my trauma, my wounding, everything. I would just say that, oh, I don't have to deal with all this. I just have to affirm and get it. But after getting a lot of things in my life that I manifested, it didn't really work out for me because it kept going away because I wasn't changing as a person consistently. And I wasn't changing as a person consistently is because I was not even acknowledging that there are some things that I need to work on. So once I stopped escaping and I started accepting that, hey, there are some things that I can get better at. And if I get better at them, my life would dramatically change. So maybe I should focus on getting better at them. And that gave me the most important results until now. Of course, there are issues that come up, and whenever they do, I have that confidence because I have dealt with things. So I can actually face them head on and say that, yes, I'm wrong in this situation. I need to work on this more. Maybe I'm operating from an insecurity. Maybe I got triggered. Maybe I'm operating from my ego. I can actually distinguish this because I have done that work. But that didn't happen while I was escaping. So I really intend that you put these 5 things in practice. They have been very helpful for me, and I'm pretty positive will give you great results if applied properly. I will see you guys in the next video. Click the like button if you liked the video. Subscribe and turn the notifications on for more such content. Comment down your video suggestions and I will see you guys in the next one.